Good afternoon, everyone. This is the OMEE team here at Huntsville, and we are ready to get started with our OMEE Virtual Industry Day. If anyone is having any technical difficulties, we cannot hear you on the phone, but you can use the chat feature, or you can use the email that was sent out with the Industry Day information, and we'll try to address any issues that you may have. Again, we're here for the OMEE Industry Day. I'm Crystal Bennett-Eccles, and I'm the OMEE Branch Chief within the Installation Support Directorate here at Huntsville Center. We are very excited that so many of you are interested in the OMEE program, and we hope that we provide you valuable information today. Just as an overview, the OMEE program provides operations and maintenance services to DoD medical facilities worldwide. We've been doing this for over 30 years, and this will be the 6th generation of this contract mechanism. Without any further delay, I'm going to turn the program over to our contracting officer, Althea Rudolph, and she's going to give us an overview of the agenda.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, thank you for participating with us. I'm just going to follow down the agenda. You can track where we are in the presentation. So first, we will have an overview of the program. That will be provided by the program manager, Mr. Mike Hunter. This will be followed by our acquisition approach, which will be presented by Ms. Veronica Hannes, the contract specialist for this acquisition. And following that will be our small business, our Office of Small Business, Ms. Karen Baker, doing business with the government. After the presentations, we will follow with the question and answer sessions, and then the conclusion and wrap up. Listed here are our government representatives. Again, Crystal Bennett-Eccles, the Chief of the OMEE branch, Mike Hunter, Program Manager, Jim Burr, the Project Manager, myself, Althea Rudolph, Contracting Officer, Veronica Hannes, Contract Specialist, Karen Baker, Office of Small Business, and Rick Owens, Engineering. We're going to go over the ground rules. Okay. Please keep in mind all the information that is provided is preliminary and subject to change. We will be providing final information to you, final question answers, and it will all be posted to BedBizOp. Please type your questions into the chat box to everyone so that all the participants can see your questions. Or you may email your questions to the omee@usace.army.mil inbox. As many questions as we can possibly answer will be answered at the conclusion of the web presentation. The presentation will be posted on Facebook, and we've given you the Facebook address, and on fedbizops.gov. All questions and responses will be published. Okay. We're asking everyone to please mute your phones, and remember that you can submit any additional questions to the OMEE inbox up until April 20th at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And next up will be Mike Hunter providing the overview of the OMEE program.
Okay, we're now on slide number 6. The slide numbers are in the upper right-hand portion of each slide. So good afternoon. This is Mike Hunter speaking. I'm the Government Program Manager for OMEE. Welcome again to today's Virtual Industry Day, and thanks for your interest in this future solicitation. Go to slide 7. Task orders issued under the OMEE contracts can provide our customers a single point of contact to address their medical facility scheduled or preventive maintenance requirements and unscheduled repairs and ancillary requirements such as septic services, grounds maintenance, pest control, and so on. Our current OMEE contractors provided operations and maintenance services at more than 60 DoD installations during this past fiscal year, FY16. They supported approximately 25 million square feet of DoD medical facility and laboratory space, which comprises around 1/3 of the total DoD medical facility footprint. Go to slide number 8. Through OMEE program medical facility operations and maintenance services contracts, we seek to provide safe and reliable facility systems in support of the DoD healthcare missions. The expected outcome of proper facility system monitoring and maintenance is that system components will reach or exceed their expected life. Go to slide 9. The OMEE contractor workforce, in coordination with and under the oversight of government medical facility management staff at each of our customer sites, work to provide the highest quality healthcare facilities for our DoD customers. This contributes to meeting the program goals identified on this slide. I'll go to slide 10. Some of the large military installation customers have medical campuses maintained by OMEE contractors that might include all of these facility types under a single project or task order. Other OMEE customers may have only small medical clinics. We have some standalone medical research labs as OMEE customers as well. Go to slide 11. The primary task for an OMEE contractor for our medical customers is performing preventive or scheduled maintenance tasks on medical facility, real property, installed equipment, or RIPE. Secondary work includes response to unscheduled repairs that can be emergency, urgent, or routine in nature. Our contractors also execute some facility-identified discretionary work, such as minor renovations that are non-complex. Other tasks include what we group as ancillary services that are usually bid options and include such services as housekeeping, grounds maintenance, pest management, and so on. Go to slide 12. The next 2 slides list most of the major facility systems OMEE operations and maintenance services contractors maintain. Go to slide 13. There's more facility systems that are maintained by our OMEE contractors. Go to slide 14. This slide lists most of our current OMEE customer sites. Last year in fiscal year 16, we had $145 million in contract obligations spread over 62 task orders. Our primary customers are Army MedCom, which makes up about 30% of our task orders and approximately 50% of our contract obligations. Air Force Medical Support Agency, or AFMISA, with around 50% of our task orders and approximately 40% of our contract obligations. The remaining 10% of our work is with the Navy, BUMED or Bureau of Medicine, and the Defense Health Agency. Go to slide 15. OMEE medical facility customers are confident they'll receive a high level of services from a pre-qualified pool of contractors with a proven track record of success in providing maintenance and repair services in active patient care environments. OMEE task orders are performance-based. Contractors must meet performance standards in order for task order options to be exercised. OMEE contractors are highly responsive to the needs of our medical facility customers, in some cases providing 24/7 emergency response to maintenance needs were required by the local medical facility mission. Go to slide 16. OMEE contractors generally have had great success supporting the needs of our DoD medical facility customers. The program has grown exponentially since the 1990s, but we are leveling out at just shy of $1 billion in expected obligations over the 5-year MATOC ordering period. Go to slide 17. Here are the current OMEE MATOC holders. We have 6 large businesses and 4 small business firms. The ordering period of these contracts goes through February of 2020. Go to slide 18.
We have a question that has come up on chat asking if the slides will be made available to the webinar participants. The answer is yes.
Okay, on slide 18, our current contractors were awarded OMEE contracts in part due to their experience with the work identified on this slide. Successful contractors have extensive experience providing maintenance services and performing minor construction and repairs in active medical facilities. They are experts on all the associated requirements unique to working in a patient care environment, such as infection control. Most OMEE contractors have supported our medical facility customers through numerous facility accreditation inspections, such as Joint Commission evaluations. Go to slide 19. We want to emphasize that contractors selected for awards under OMEE have a proven track record of success in providing for medical facility maintenance in active patient care environments. You go to slide 20. This is my last slide. We provided a draft performance work statement, and what goes out in the solicitation should be fairly close to this draft document. The last solicitation included a sample task order for prospective bidders. This is the general format for the OMEE PWS that's modified for each customer based upon site-specific requirements. If you have any questions about this draft PWS, please send them to the OMEE email box provided. Go to slide 21.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for participating in this Acquisition Industry Day for the Operations and Maintenance and Engineering Enhancement program. Had a little blank there for a moment. It's called OMEE. I'm Veronica Hannes. I'm the contract specialist for this acquisition. Many of you have emailed me, and we'll probably be chatting over the next while, and we'll talk about this. I'm going to let you know the acquisition approach currently, and I see that we have a question there. I hope I will be able to answer it for you as we go along. The NAICS code for this acquisition is 561210. Classified as Facility Support Services. The small business size standard for that NAICS code is $38.5 million, and that sums up the average of 3 years of your last 3 years of annual receipts. So if you're a small business that fits under that, we want to make sure that you please continue to participate and be interested in this acquisition if it fits within the types of work that you can do. This is going to be a multiple award contract. It's called we call it a MATOC, a multiple award task order contract, where task orders will be awarded from the base contract to individual offerers, and the task orders will be fixed price. We anticipate issuing one unsolicited solicitation with small business reserves. So this is not a set aside, but it's task orders will be set aside for small businesses. Some task orders will. And we will be determining that. It will be transparent in the solicitation and in the final award how that will occur. The government will conduct task order evaluations for the set aside of small business task orders, separate from the unrestricted portion. The task orders will be competed amongst all the MATOC holders using the fair opportunity process. It's subject to the ordering procedures outlined in the solicitation coming out in the future. The ordering procedures will specify the circumstances for setting aside each task order. Usually it's complexity of the work that is necessary to perform. We want to be transparent with everything that we do, so we'll try to give you as much information up front as possible. The next slide, number 23, the ordering period for this acquisition is going to be 5 years. We're going to have a base ordering period, that's 2 years, and 3 one-year options. The length of time the government may compete individual task orders is called the ordering period. The period of performance really would be on each individual task order, and that amount of time is what contractors are allowed to actually perform the work. But the base contract, we call it an ordering period. We have customers all over the world. As you saw on slide 14 that Mike had presented, we have customers within the United States, the contiguous United States, Alaska, Hawaii, and outlying areas, as well as customers in Germany, Italy, Japan, Korea. And also that if you've seen in the performance work statement, which was attached to the announcement, it also shows Thailand and the United Kingdom. And if additional customers from outlying areas need support and we are able to provide support, we can expand that area. The capacity for this acquisition is estimated at $990 million. It will be a shared capacity amongst all of the MATOC holders. And there's a minimum guarantee of $3,000 per MATOC holder. We are anticipating 8 awards. It could be a higher number, it could be a lower number, it could be none at all. It just depends upon how the process plays itself out. We're encouraging both large and small businesses to participate in this acquisition. We need both types of businesses. And I think we've had lots of success with small businesses in the past. So you small businesses out there, please, if you're able to perform these types of services, participate and keep engaged. We hope that we're going to be issuing at least a notification for the solicitation issuance in the June or July 2018 time frame. I hope that answers one of the questions that is there. And I believe that is it for me. Continue to ask your questions in the chat box. Please send them to everybody so everybody can see the questions. And we will try to answer them at the end if we don't get to them as we're going along. And next is Ms. Karen Baker, and she's going to tell you about some small business.
Thank you, Veronica. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Karen Baker. I am one of the deputies for small business here at the Huntsville Center, Office of Small Business Programs. Next slide, please. And I hope I don't scare people away, but that's a picture of yours truly. Next slide, please. Thank you. What you see right now in front of you is a snapshot of an online federal acquisition regulation. And this is what I call the Acquisition Bible. And so as you see there in the far left side of the screen, it's broken into parts. from 1 through 53. And so what your mostly industry is going to be looking at is in Part 52. It deals with the FAR clauses, which reflects the different parts from 1 through 51. One of the things I wanted to address to you is FAR Part 19, which is very dear to me. It deals with the small business program. And one of the things I want to stress, particularly to the small business community, that it states in there in FAR Part 19.5 that if there are 2 or more small businesses technically capable at a fair and reasonable price, the requirement or the acquisition shall be set aside for small business. So it is also known as the rule of 2. And the reason I'm bringing that up because in FAR Part 10, market research, we did do a sources sought for this acquisition and not very many responses from the small business community. So we decided to do a virtual industry day, which we're doing now. And this is, the virtual industry day is a type of market research. And you're also going to find out that at the end of the presentation, you're going to hear about a survey. I really recommend that you respond to the survey because that will help us with our acquisition strategy. One of the things I want to stress out to you is that in Part 9 of the FAR, it talks about teaming and it gives a good definition of teaming arrangements. We do encourage teaming for this acquisition. Also in Part 4, which is also very important, is that the contractors at the time of contract award must be registered in the system for award management. Next slide, please. And this is what a snapshot of the systems award management looks like. And you're going to find out that we use a lot of acronyms, and so I'm just going to call it short for SAM. And this is a snapshot of what it looks like. This is to do business with the federal government, you must be registered in SAM. And this is the primary database that the federal government uses. So please, it's essential that you register here. Now, please do not submit your application or file your registration and send at the very last minute, because it could take as short as 72 hours, but it could take as long as 10 days or more to get registered in SAM. So it's imperative that the sooner you do it, the better off you will be. You will also find out that this is also a great marketing tool for industry, a great tool for businesses to use because other businesses will also utilize this system. And what this system allows, it allows government agencies and contractors to search companies based on their ability, their size, their location, their experience, ownership, and much, much more. This system here also informs searchers of firms like myself that are certified by SBA's 8A program and the HUD program. One thing I want to make sure that you're aware of. SAM, there is no cost to register in SAM or to maintain your registration in SAM. If you receive emails from companies claiming to represent SAM, be cautious. And I stress that highly. Because if a company offers you to help a register in SAM and asks you to contact them and pay them money, again, be cautious. There are other resources at your fingertips that could assist you if you have problems in registering in the Systems for Award Management. Please contact your local procurement technical assistance centers or your small business development centers. They are there to help you and they're an excellent resource. Also, when you are in SAM, and if you are a small business, and it could just be one NAICS code you could be considered small in, what you're going to find out is that something else will pop up called an SBA supplemental pages. I will highly recommend that you take advantage of that because at a later point in my presentation, you're going to find out where that's going to be utilized. And so I highly recommend that you fill out those SBA supplemental pages. Next slide, please. As you heard Ms. Hannah say that the size, the NAICS code for this requirement, you'll see, this is the NAICS code page. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, this is what the description that you will see on the NAICS code page, the North American Industry Classification System. And this is by the Department of Commerce, because during the North American Federal Trade Act between Canada and the United States and Mexico, we used to have the SIC code and the Standard Industrialization Code, and that was replaced with what you see now, the North American Industry Classification System. And so it has just been updated in 2017. It's updated every 5 years. So you might want to make sure that your NAICS codes are current and up to date. Not all of the NAICS codes have changed, but some of them have changed. Now, what you see in front of you right now is the NAICS code that's assigned to this requirement, the 561210, Facility Support Services. Next slide, please. That should not be there, but okay. But be the may. This is the Federal Business Opportunity page, and this is where the federal government has to post anything over $25,000 on your or any special notices, just like this virtual industry day. So what you see here is this is also the notice for the OMEE industry notice. One of the things that this is an excellent tool for small businesses because, or for any actually for industry period, is that you could have this sent to you by NAICS code. Like if your primary NAICS code is the 561210 as this for this requirement, you could find out which NAICS codes that other agencies are having solicitations posted, and they could be emailed to you on a daily basis. It is an excellent resource. You also see that in a large tab that says Interested Vendors List. This is a great opportunity if you read this requirement and you see that you could do some, part, or all. I highly recommend that you put your company's name under the Interested Vendors List, because other contractors might see that you're there and might approach you for either for possible teaming agreements or as a prime looking for a subcontractor. It is an excellent resource to use. Next slide, please. This is the SBA's table of small business size standards. If one slide, the slide before it said talked about the NAICS code. Each NAICS code has a size standard associated with it. And there's two, next slide please. Now this is a sample of what you'll see on the table of size standards. As Ms. Hannah mentioned, that this has a size standard of 38.5 million. Now, how do you determine if a business is small or large? It is the size standard associated with each NAICS code. It could be either by revenue or by employee base. This NAICS code, as you see on the screen above, for 561210 for facility support services, has a small business size standard of 38.5 million. What that means is the last 3 years of a company's revenue, if the average was less than 38.5 million, you'll be classified as a small business for this NAICS code. If your revenue has exceeded the 38.5 million, you will be considered large for this requirement. Also, for other NAICS codes, you will see if you're on the table of size standard, it might be employee based. So you could be large as a revenue base, but you could be small on another NAICS code as an employee base. So it depends on the size standard associated with the NAICS code. Next slide, please. Okay, back to this one. Oh, actually, this is a good idea that we came back. This is a duplicate slide, the same slide as was brought up before. But one thing I wanted to make sure I brought up, you heard at the end of this, we're going to be posting all the participants and a copy of the slides and the names of the Q&As are going to be posted at this site that you see right here on this screen. This is going to be amended, and you're going to have all the Q&As, all the vendors. If you choose to be posted, because we're encouraging teaming, and that's the reason why we're going to be posting all the vendors. But if you do not wish to be posted there, please send an email to the OMEE@usace.army.mil site. Next slide, please. Now, this is an awesome tool, and this is for both small and large business, or for anybody in the industry. This is the Small Business Administration Dynamic Small Business Search. As I mentioned before regarding the SAM slide, that if you have any NAICS codes that you're considered small, you're going to see a SBA supplemental sheet. And this is where businesses could expand their marketing by filling out those supplemental sheets. Because my agency and the other agencies throughout the federal government utilizes this site. This will also provide us with, information about companies, either by groups, by individual states. I could find out by HUD zone, 8A, women-owned, veteran-owned, service-disabled vet. If I'm looking for construction, if I'm looking for services, if I'm looking for research and development, this allows me to find this information out. I also many of you received an email from me informing you of this virtual industry day. Well, guess what? This is where I went to get that information. It allowed me to go by NAICS code and to fine tune it. I also put in some keywords that allowed me to streamline, and I was able to do a mass email to notify you of this event. So I highly recommend take advantage and make sure that you fill out that profile section in SAM and the supplemental pages, because we also use this for a quick market research. Excellent tool. Next slide, please. Now this is one. Now I did not have a slide for each one of these. I'm just going to do a very brief description of each. These are excellent tools. I have 2 sites referenced for the Small Business Administration, and at the SBA, they have several programs. As you see on there, I have the 8A, the HUD Zone, the Women-Owned Small Business Program, and the Service-Disabled Vet Program. In all of those programs, there are certain commonalities. You have to be at least 51% owned by either a woman-owned, if you're in the Women-Owned Small Business Program. If you're a Service-Disabled Vet, you have to be 51% owned small business. Same way with HUD Zone and the 8A. Now, I'm going to start off with the certified.sba.gov website. Excuse me, having marbles in my mouth today. If you want to get into the SBA's new All Small Business Mentor Protege program, you'll be going to that site. If you want to get into the 8A program, you want to go to the certified.sba.gov site. Same way with the HUD Zone program, and same as the Women-Owned Small Business Program. You also see me mentioned up there regarding Subnet. Now, Subnet is currently out there. This is a great tool for prime contractors, and I hope all of you are listening out there. It is a great tool to utilize. This is where a prime contractor can post their subcontracting possibilities for an acquisition or for certain requirement. This is also where subcontractors can go to see if there's any prime contractors that are looking for subcontractors. I should also inform you that the subnet is also in the process of being revamped. It's in the beta mode right now, so I think a soft launch is going to take effect like the latter part of June of this year. But right now it is up, but the revamping of it is going to be coming out latter part of June this year. The Mentor Protege Program. This is, believe it or not, the federal government and all the agencies, there's over 14 Mentor Protege programs throughout the federal government. There's really primarily two that I'm going to mention, and the first one is the DoD Small Business Mentor Protege Program. And that one there, you do not have to, you could be a prime in a subcontractor relationship with those. It generally takes the size standard of the mentor and not of the protege, where the All Small Business SBA Mentor Protege Program will take the size standard of the protege. A little bit different. But what you're going to find, though, is that when you go to certify.sba.gov to enroll into the Mentor Protege Program, you will also find a list of the current mentors that have some protege already with that. But if you wish to approach them, you can. This is also a great resource for you. The next one is going to be the 8A program. This is a 9-year development program. It's broken into 2 phases. The first 4-year phase is what they call the developmental stage, and the last 5 years is what they call the transition phase. And what does that mean, the transition phase? What that means in your 5th year forward, you have to do a certain percentage of non-8A work. Because in the 8A program, you can get direct awards up to $4 million for services. And if you are a manufacturer, you can get a direct award. It has been changed. It used to be $6.5 million. Now it's $7 million for manufacturing. But regarding the transitional phase, in your 5th year onward, you have to do a certain percentage of non-8A work. What does that mean? That means going after other requirements that is not an 8A direct award. But it's an excellent program. The Hub Zone program. The Hub Zone program is actually a geographical footprint. It's where certain areas deals with the underutilized business zones, and of which the principal office has to be in a Hub Zone, and of which 35% of your employees that are working for that company have to reside in a hub zone. Now, the hub zone has pretty much like 5 different kinds of hub zones. One is the typical qualified non-metropolitan counties, which includes very difficult developmental areas. There's also the qualified census tract. Also, the Indian lands are considered hub zones indefinitely. Many of you heard of base closure areas, or known as BRAC, the base realignment enclosures in adjacent areas. And also, disaster areas are a lot of times designated as hub zones. For example, if you remember when Katrina came through about 10 years ago, the state of Louisiana was designated as a hub zone. The Service Disabled Veteran Program deals with the 214, where when the service disabled vet retires from the military. This was established during the Veterans Entrepreneurship and Small Business Development Act of 1999. So this program established criteria to be used in federal contracting to determine service disabled veteran status, business ownership, and control requirements and guidelines for sole source and set-aside procurement opportunities. But the next thing I want to talk about is teaming arrangements. I brought this up before. We do encourage teaming. You could either be a prime and sub, or you could be a formal joint venture. We highly encourage the teaming arrangements. But last but not least of my presentation, I'm going to talk about the Federal Procurement Data System Next Generation. This is an awesome tool in which contractors could register and get and set up an account. But the data that you're going to be seeing is 90 days old. And that is primarily for security reasons, since this is the system that the contracting office uses. This one here, they have on there where you can get the easy search. You can find out information about upcoming, when contracts are about to expire, and you can find out from which agency it is that the requirement or the contract is about to expire, that you could approach and see if there's going to be a follow-on coming up. You could also find out what are the top NAICS codes for an agency that you deal with often. So I just want to let you know that these are some of the resources that you can utilize. And so this is the end of my presentation, and I'm going to pass this back on to Ms. Hannah. So Ms. Hannah, the floor is yours.
Okay, we've pretty much concluded our presentation. However, we do have some questions, and we're going to do our best to provide you with responses. Please continue to ask questions through the chat box, or we'll also monitor the OMEE email box for any questions that may come in. So let's get a start. I can go at the very top of the chat box. So a question. Will the slides from today's presentation be made available to the webinar participants? And yes, the answer is yes. The slide presentation that we presented today, along with the audio, will be provided on the Federal Business Opportunities page. We'll amend the initial announcement that came out with the Industry Day announcement, and we'll provide all that information, along with the questions that are being asked here and the responses. The next question. Current contracts are good till 2020, they're asking. If I heard this correct, when will you solicit the next contract cycle? We are looking to put a solicitation out in June or July of 2018 and have the new award 2019, 2020, something like that. The current contract will end in February 2020, so definitely have a contract in place prior to that time. Can you go over the unsolicited piece for small business? Well, we really don't have anything that's unsolicited. Everything is formally solicited for both small and large business. We call it an unrestricted solicitation. However, we will have small business reserves for task orders. So it's an unsolicited acquisition for both large and small offerers. And there just will be some task orders, certain task orders that will be set aside for small businesses.
Historically, the set-aside work has been at the medical clinic level. Usually all the hospitals, inpatient care facilities, they're competed full and open.
Okay, and the solicitation will provide more information on this at the time of issue. That will give you much more specific information on what type work will be reserved for those small businesses.
The next question. Mike's slide said 10 winners next round, and slide number 23 says 8. Which number do you anticipate? What is the breakout between large and small businesses? We currently have 10 contractors in place. Our anticipated award for this coming 2020 acquisition, target of 8. It could be more, it could be less, it could be none at all. Currently we have
10.
how many large?
Six large,
6
4
large,
small.
and
6
4
and 4.
small.
So I believe the question is probably referring to slide 16 on Mike's section of the presentation, and where it says the 10 IDIQ contracts issued in 2015. Those are the current contracts that we have, so that's not referring to this upcoming solicitation.
And the number of contracts that will be awarded will be dependent upon the competition that we have. These will be awarded on best value. So, and of course, we are encouraging small businesses to compete. So the exact number will be determined upon the quality proposals that we receive.
And you'd be surprised how many small businesses have won the unrestricted portion. So I would, not just for the OMEE, but for any type of unrestricted contracts. So I highly encourage small businesses to team in and go after this, specifically the small business reserves.
Will preference be given to small disadvantaged, veteran-owned small businesses? We are looking for we're soliciting an unrestricted solicitation. So we don't know the types of offers that will be coming in and how many will be coming. So right now, as a general category of small business, for the reserve portion, we hope to get many, but we don't have a preference for a particular type of small business. We have one question that we're probably going to respond to in writing. It calls for a larger answer than we can provide here at this time. But the question is, if teaming is being encouraged, will the RFP recognize team experience to satisfy past performance? So we will be answering that question, but just not at this time. The next question, who is your largest customer? How many OMEE contractor in-house staff are associated with this customer?
Well, we have there are large sites, you can look at the list that we provided, but I would say annual obligations at one of our largest sites could be around 15 to 15 million range, in that range, for the annual services. Now, the next question, how many task orders can we expect each year under the OMEE MATOC? Well, right now we've got around 65 active task orders, 15 to 20 per year on average. And we award services under our current MATOCs. We have a base ordering period of 4 option years. This next solicitation, we're looking at a 2-year base and 3 option years. So a task order, could be awarded to your firm, and as long as you're providing, good performance, you'd be continuing to provide those services for your customer for 5 years. So.
Another question, what is the price range for task orders under the OMEE MATOC? What was the largest task order awarded on the current contract and where?
Won't really necessarily say where, but for the entire period of performance up to 5 years, it approached 50 million, slightly less than 50 million. And of course, we have smaller clinics that can be, probably less than $1 million a year in services. So, 3 to 4 million over the life of the task order. At smaller clinic sites.
Another question, do you provide an annual upfront pipeline for upcoming task orders?
We try to provide a list of requirements, future requirements, and sometimes the awards, sometimes they may slip a little bit, but we try to give them as often as possible of when we might have upcoming requirements in the approximate month. So we have made that effort in the past to do that.
What was the OMEE spend over each of the last 5 years?
We were actually really close to the total ceiling capacity of the contract, so it was really close to, I won't say it's 100%, but in the 90% of the total contract capacity. And we anticipate that will be the case on the current one that will expire in 2020.
So the previous contract also was an estimated $990 million, or the current contract, I should say. What are the small business subcontracting goals for the large prime contractors? We haven't determined that yet. We're too early in the process to make that determination. Are there a specific number of contracts to be awarded? We have a target of 8 currently for this upcoming May talk. On the current contract, there are 10 offerers. However, it could be any number. It just depends upon the quality of proposal that we receive. And and the number that we think that is necessary to fulfill our customers' needs. Okay, there are no additional questions at the email box. And no additional questions in the chat box at the moment. So again, this one? All questions, if you have additional questions that you think of as, over the next couple of days, you have until the 20th of April. That is, today's Wednesday, today's Tuesday. Yeah, that's on Thursday. Thursday at close of business, Central Standard Time, to provide any questions to the OMEE mailbox. That's OMEE at usace.army.mil. We'll also be sending out a survey to each participant who had registered for this event, and I encourage you to please provide your feedback with that, the simple questions that are there and any additional information that may be helpful for future, for this current one and for future Industry Day events. And again, a copy of the presentation will be provided on FedBizOps along with the audio recording and the questions and answers. And we intend on providing a list of the participating companies also on that posting. If you do not want your company's name listed, please email the OMEE mailbox. Just let us know that you would prefer not to have your company's name listed. But it is an opportunity to possibly have some teaming arrangements or to see who else may be interested. I won't post individual names who have registered. I'll just post the company names unless you ask me to do differently. And again, the OMEE mailbox is OMEE at usace.army.mil. And you've got until Thursday.
It's actually
Afternoon.
2017 rather than 2015. So they're not late.
Oh, sorry, right. You're on the slide. It says 2015, but you
Somebody
have
point
this
that
year, 2017. Thank you all again for participating. And we look forward to seeing your continued participation and interest in this OMEE acquisition. We're going to hang up now. Thank you. Bye-bye.